All righty. All right.
So come ground yourself. You need to be more grounded.
All right, here we are, guys. We are live. So I just realized I was muted just a minute ago. Okay, beautiful souls. So let's get started. Today we are going to deep dive into some topics. There are some main things that are happening energetically this week that I want to focus on and narrow in on.
All right, here we are, guys.
Okay, sorry, just continuing to create echoing here. Okay. All right. So, what do we want to talk about today? A couple of things. First of all, we have some really powerful energies that are kind of bringing back past memories. And that's one thing that I really want to focus on today, talking about working with past memories, working with nostalgia. There is a very powerful tool that is available to us when we recover memories of the past. And so this is where we want to start to look at the invitation that these memories are causing and how to work with those memories, because it plays a tremendous role in your work, in the kind of accessing of healing that is available to you. Okay, so right now, as we're moving towards the end of this year, as I mentioned, the way that we are evolving, the year is also set up. Everything is in fractals of 3, essentially, and every 3 groups of energy, from lowest, mid to high, we begin to enter into higher octaves. Okay, so right now, this year, every year, from the beginning of the year, middle of the year to end of the year, the energy begins to shift into higher octaves towards the end. But every aspect of the year is also providing you energies that either allow you to flow through blocked energies, or help you revisit certain memories, or help expand the energy field. So, the more you come into harmony with nature, the more you can recognize these patterns that are available to us for healing, for these opportunities of working with our energy body. And so right now, as we're entering into the last part of our year, we are beginning to really assess closing of this year. And remember that this is the year number 9, which is the ending of a very long cycle. And we are entering into a higher octave, into a 25,000 year cycle, a new cycle. So this is a very, very special time. It's a very special transition point that we're in right now. And when these important transition points arise, the invitation is that we are aware of what is truly needing to end. Remember that your life here is about experience. Everything that you experience in your life is an invitation to look at, to grow, to expand. And every single one of those experiences are allowing you to get key information that you're recovering your memory of what you're here to do in the bigger picture. Okay. So as you are coming back through these cycles of reincarnation, every lifetime that you're here to experience, the invitation is to recover more and more memory each time. Who are you really? And through the many experiences that you have in your life, we are recovering that memory. And so the thing is, what is it that we need to remember? We need to remember who we are. We need to once again, through this temporary life experience of separation, we return back to the source. We return back to remembering that we are source. And this is a very powerful recovery of memory that we have an opportunity to experience, because once you remember that, you are able to experience pure creation on this planet. Okay, so pure creation essentially is that we are coming back to that innocent, childlike state of pure divine order. Okay, coming back to the childlike state of innocence, where you can create freely without fear, without blocking the life force that moves through your body, your energy system being a fractal of the universe. Remember that every part of your body can either contract energy. If you have a thought form of fear, of anxiety, of separation, that is manifested in the physical body as a contraction, and therefore your life force isn't moving freely through the body. Okay, so the invitation is that you begin to allow yourself to remember that you are pure energy, that you are infinite potential, and that when you come back into harmonic order, these energies, these creative juices, the creative energies that run through your body as pure potential, that you allow that to manifest. And so the healthiest of people on this planet Earth are those that are allowing that to happen. And every cycle, remember, everything is cyclical. Okay, so we go through times of higher states of connection and consciousness, and then we go through states of separation and again reconnection. And every single part of your life is an invitation. You're never going back, you're never forgetting, you're never forget this immense awakenings that you guys have. You suppress your awareness of them, and you might fall back asleep sometimes. Okay, but once you have activated this awareness in you, you can always access that understanding, and you're going to do so in deeper ways. And so in Qigong, for example, when we work with energy systems, the older you get, the more powerful you get, the stronger you can cultivate your life force. In our modern societies, we think that as we get older, we get weaker, we get more frail, we get less energy. Well, actually, in Qigong and in these energy systems of ancient mystery schools around the entire world, the older you get, the more powerful you get, because you learn how to cultivate and direct life force, very intentionally, in ways that are, redirecting the stagnation of energy in ways that are productive for you. And so it is a very daily practice, though. Okay. So what I'm going to start doing in November is we're going to start having Qigong workshops, because I really want to, in addition to telepathy training, in addition to remote viewing training, this is going to be part of our curriculum, essentially, is working in the deep energy centers. And I've been a Qigong teacher for maybe 15 years now. So I used to teach corporate, and it was a lot of fun. Going into these office spaces where people are sitting and stuck, their mind disconnected from their creative self, their mind disconnected from who they are, and coming into this room where they start to heighten their senses and connect to the senses. Remember that the senses are the tools of your intuition. They are the tools to your higher faculties, the gateway to the higher faculties. So if you're disconnected from your senses, it's going to be difficult for you to be in the present moment. It's going to be difficult for you to be aware. It's going to be difficult for you to really anchor that awareness throughout your day, right? And so remember that this practice is not just a compartmentalized practice. The whole purpose of this is that you become and you embody this constant embodiment. Okay. And so the other day I had a question here, one that I want to answer today is essentially, we are, we're experiencing so much suffering and pain and all this stuff. So when we go through these higher healings and higher activations, And the world right now is changing so drastically. And many people are going to lose their jobs. What are we going to do? And how do we know what we're going to do? Okay. So, what is happening in the world is going to happen regardless, because what is happening in the world is a reflection of the readjustment of frequencies in the collective. Okay. As we move into the rebalancing of the feminine and masculine energy, the feminine is healing. It's going to feel like the feminine is rising. What is the feminine? The feminine is the intuitive. The feminine is the connection to the divine. The feminine is the connection to the source. And so anytime that we disconnect from the source and we become materialists, or we're completely attached to the material physical world, we start to go in, we experience collectively a weakening of that divine feminine. Okay. And of course, some of you have seen my presentation on the divine feminine. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys later this week. Actually, it'll be featured replay for you guys to take a look at. It's very important for us to understand how the divine feminine has been suppressed in our world, and how we suppress the feminine within ourselves. Anytime that we doubt, anytime that we fear our internal power, anytime that we doubt our internal knowing, anytime that we are in resistance of natural order, anytime that we're in resistance of the present moment, these are all manifestations essentially of the divine feminine in which we are resisting, we are blocking. And so, these definitions, these deeper understandings of feminine, masculine energies, these are things that they're very subtle things that we begin to become aware of as you embody, as you practice, as you observe yourself, as you see yourself in your embodiment, as you notice your resistance. You can understand what are the implications of that, what are the side effects of those resistances. And essentially, you begin to change in how you are holding that energy. So, to finish the question about what are we going to do when all these jobs are changing? Well, it's necessary because in the past, in the embodiment of this imbalanced feminine masculine, we were hypnotized, and we were hypnotizing ourselves, believing that the only way to survive was to have a job and to be part of this system, which is a very imbalanced system in which we are completely dependent on the survival model of existence. Okay, so this has to change, because that model, as you can see, is bringing death to the planet, right? We have a lot of illness on the earth itself, natural systems that are dying, resources that are being depleted and causing harm to the planet in this way that we are recovering those resources in the planet. And so that way of living is on the pathway of destruction to ourselves and to society. And so to change that pathway would be to remodel that model. Okay, what would that look like? Would be that we are living in harmonic order, and that we are working with nature, very aware of natural order, so that we can build our society in ways that we are sharing the resources with the earth in a very natural manner. Okay, so this is super important, because the earth always, nature and the intelligence of nature is so magnificent, it will always reset itself. That's the nature of nature. It will always reset itself. It would regenerate. That's the beauty of these cyclical systems of energy in this universe, is that everything is regenerating. If it wasn't for the regenerative nature of this world, we would be in stagnations. We would be, everything would rot. Essentially, it would become, forever stagnant. And yet life comes from the death. And so we have to model that natural order in the ways that we are existing, in the ways that we are living. And so what that means is that to be in harmony with nature is that, there is no urgency for anything when you are in harmony with nature. You are aware, you're paying attention to natural order, and you are in harmony with that. And to be in harmony with things requires you to be fully, to be fully. So your new job, the new job of this next era that we're entering into is going to be being, the job of being. Okay. Rather than just doing, mindlessly doing to survive, like little animals that are running in a little, loop without conscious awareness of the actions, right? Of the result of your actions. So being is a full-time job. And so to be requires you to be in a state of presence, full embodiment, state of awareness, state of observations of yourself, state observing your thoughts, observing your emotions, observing your energy in your body, observing how you're directing life force through your body and through the actions that you're doing. And you're also aware of the consequences of the movement of your energy. Okay, so, and from there, as you become aware of that, you also understand collective responsibility, right? So you yourself, as a conscious participant in a society, you are aware of the consequences of your existence, of your beingness. And from there, we become connected, okay? So there's different models of hive mind, okay? We can be a hive mind in a matrix, which is designed to program us to be consumers and to essentially focus on survival. And boy, are we programmed. We belong to a hive mind where we believe that we are in survival and that we are unsafe and that we are victimized in systems. There are other models. In higher civilizations, as I mentioned before, everything is completely transparent. You cannot hide anything from me because your thoughts, your energies are completely transparent to me, because we are telepathic, because we are energy beings that see and speak the language of energy. And again, your intentions are very clear. What you're doing in society or every action becomes very clear. And so you kind of tune into this one mind model. Everyone is one mind. And you are working collectively for the same core ethics, core ideas of health, vitality. And you understand the responsibility of your actions. So we can look at those models of civilizations and we can compare our model of civilization and take a look at what we can maybe change and shift, what we can potentially adopt in us in order to provide health and vitality, longevity in this world. Okay. And so ultimately we are one. And that's something that we are learning as a very young human race. We are maturing into understanding what it means to be one and to embody oneness with those around us, with us as a civilization. It's not a concept that we know, because we have been brainwashed to become individualistic, to become separate. When you're in survival, you're only thinking about yourself. You think about yourself, think about maybe your family, right? Your closest partners, but that's about it. What would it take for us to really think about your entire neighborhood, right? Your entire city. Okay, so this is the level that we are beginning to mature as a human race. And as you can see in that construct, you can't exist in deep states of separation. So coming into the beingness, as you begin to move out of survival into co-creation, okay? So your new job is in a state of being to co-create fluidly. And that state of co-creation is something that we are relearning. We're needing to learn how to create. Creation is not just an art project or being a healer. We are creating universes in our dream state. We are, we are such powerful creators, and we just don't remember that. So it's very important. Let's bring this home now into the actual practical embodiment of these concepts. Essentially, to be able to activate your body, into a state of co-creation and into harmonic order requires you to train yourself to be present with your body. What is happening right now at this point of the year? We are in October, mid-October, almost towards the end. Okay, so remember, every year is organized in the same way your body is self-organizing frequency from lowest to highest. The years and the way that we created the matrix and this time structure, we are also moving into higher ascension. Every month is an opportunity to move into that higher ascension. Okay, we never regress. We never go back to a state of unconsciousness. Okay, as I mentioned, you go back to sleep. But as you are embodying this month of October, what's going to be happening is that you're recovering a lot of memories of the past. And a lot of times we have these feelings of nostalgia, like profound nostalgia. We have these little flashbacks to memories. And sometimes they cause sharp emotions in your body. Have you ever experienced where you come back to a memory and all of a sudden you have this flood of emotions that come back to you? These memories are extremely important. And let me tell you why. We haven't learned how to deal with memories. Memories, to some people, they can be haunted by their memories because as soon as they feel the memory or they're stuck in the trauma of the memory, they are entering a loop of repeating the repetition of feeling the difficult emotions that happened. Your body is so beautiful that it brings these memories because it's moving energy through the body. When these memories come into your mind, your body, because it's always moving energy, you're constantly moving life force through the body. It's hit an energy point in the body that triggers. So remember that these trauma creates nodules of energy in your field. Okay, you are millions of energy points. You are vortices. Remember the nadis, right? So your energy moving through your body every month, every day, you are cycling through a clock of energetic movement. And I've showed this clock. I'll show it again in a second. But you are processing liver. Okay, every hour of the day, certain organs are regenerating more. And our system of eating, our system of processing emotions, our system of doing things is actually mirroring this biological clock that we have. And this biological clock is allowing you to come into harmonic order. And the circadian rhythms. The circadian rhythms are not just about, the sun going down and these ecosystems. They're psychological layers of your mind as well. We have a psychological ecosystem that is connected through the field, a network, which is the Akashic records, the system of memory. And we access those memory systems depending on what part of your body is processing energy. Okay, so when we have these energies moving through the body and we start to have these memories being triggered, it can be triggered by something you see outside. However, the strength of that memory will be magnified by how you are moving life force through the physical body. And what you'll notice is that as you have these memories, they are allowing us they're inviting us to work with that memory. It's coming up because it's in your body already, it's in your field, and it's a point of contraction in the field. So what we have to do with those memories is, instead of just seeing it and in just eliminating the memory or just ignoring it, the invitation is that you access that memory point and you understand what is the emotional trigger that is being triggered in the body. This will help you by working with those emotions. So let me give you an example. This has been coming a lot these past couple of weeks. Okay, it's been coming a lot in the practice. But essentially, I'll give you an example, a memory of a child that, let me see an example from this week. The child is neglected by the mom. Okay. And so she walks into the store and she sees a little doll. And the doll in the display just triggers this flashback of this memory of being a child playing in her room. And the mom was busy with something else, so she felt neglected in that moment. And she was playing with dolls, so they reminded her of that. And so she's flooded with this feeling of abandonment, of resentment, of anger, of sadness, sorrow, of loneliness. And so as she observes that emotion, she notices the strongest of those. Okay, so let's say it's the loneliness. And it's all here in her stomach. And then it goes into the liver where she's holding sorrow and anger. If you continue to work, just like in DNA reprogramming, as we do in these deep meditations, if you enter into the layers of those emotions, you're going to access a root. And that root is a point of liberation for you. Because if you understand how to alchemize that root emotion, you are having the opportunity to reintegrate that fractal of yourself that experienced the trauma in that memory. And it's very powerful. And, when I first started doing this work and I began to see the world with these new eyes of observation, I was flooded with these memories. And I would work on every one of these memories. And what I noticed is that little by little, I would integrate all these parts of myself and I would recover more memory. So memories of myself as a child in the crib, in the womb, things that you would never think you would remember, things that not even my parents remember. And the recovery of these memories are the regathering of your life force, which is part of your integration, is part of your ascension journey. Because again, one of the highest processes of ascension, or let's say ascension, right, is essentially that you remember who you are. And any part of you that has experienced trauma is holding fractals of your life force. Okay. When we have severe trauma, the soul and fractals of your essence, they become split and shattered. Your energy body becomes shattered, literally. Even your chakras can become shattered. Okay. And so this is part of the healing. And so some people have diseases and illnesses and pain in the body that is just chronic, but they don't understand that when you start to recover these parts of yourself, the illnesses will also clean up. Illnesses are not random. There is always a somatic root for where you have some kind of disassociation with your energy body. And every time that we experience a traumatic experience in which we don't know how to engage, we don't know how to work with, we split. And this aspect of yourself is suspended in that timeline, in that memory, in that energy. And you keep going back to it because this point of energy that becomes a contraction, it becomes crystallized. You keep coming back to it. As a matter of fact, these little points in your morphogenetic field, they contribute to how your frequency is either rising or falling. It also contributes to the limitation of your frequency in your energy body. Okay, so that's why the shadow work is the absolute essential thing. We need to do shadow work, and that's the whole point of today's conversation, is that your shadow work has become such a term, but essentially it's become such a common term, but the real meaning of that is that you're reintegrating the fractals of yourself. It should be called fractal work, right? Where the fractals of yourself, you reintegrate into your body. Through the alchemy and the release of stagnant emotional energy. Your emotions are your life force. If you have a lot of unresolved emotions, you have a lot of depletion of your life force. You have a lot of weakening of your energy body. And that will always result in illness or imbalances or confusion or disconnect, in one way or another. And that results in the lack of intuition, which your intuition is absolutely important. It is absolutely imperative that you cultivate a powerful intuition. But you cannot cultivate intuition because intuition is is the healing, is the result of healing. Okay? So so everyone has intuition. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone is psychic. Everyone is psychic. But we block our abilities. And the blocking of your emotional energy is the blocking of your intuition. The disconnect and the imbalance of your feminine, masculine energies is the blocking of your intuitive faculties. So, intuition is a cultivation of your senses. Now, your senses are deeply connected to your intuition, and your senses, when you have a lot of trauma, you want to disassociate. You don't want to feel. You don't want to feel. When you have that flashback of that memory of dad slapping you across the face, let's say, or mom yelling at you, or mom not listening, or your husband doing something, or your wife dismissing you, whatever it is. Okay, it can be more severe traumas, the loss of a child, the loss of a parent, the loss of a loved one. But these are the things that those emotions that are unresolved from those experiences we become enslaved to them, because they become the primary imprint of energy in your energy body. And they say energy doesn't lie, because the first thing that you see from someone is their energy body. The color of the energy that they're emitting, the frequencies that they're emitting as emotions are completely transparent. You can tell immediately what somebody is feeling, what is their core foundation of emotions, what are their belief systems, their intentions behind. You start to develop discernment. And then in that way, you are not confused anymore. You're not lost. You're not unsure. You're not disconnected. Okay? And so there's a very big difference between judgment and discernment. Okay? Judgment is coming from filters. And judgment will always be an incomplete truth. Because whatever you're seeing the world, if you're full of filters, if you're filters of insecurities, filters of self-doubt, filters of fear, filters of being unsafe in the world, that's how you're going to perceive the world. And your judgments, because you're in survival. So people that are in survival are very judgmental. Okay, so survival and judgment is side by side, and both of them are leading to more pain and more suffering and more fearful situations, because you can't assess truth. You're blinded by your own belief system. And so the alternative is discernment, in which you become the 0 point. You are working to become less identified with a personality, less identified with a self, less identified with a name, a way of being. You become the 0 point, less identified with your traumas, with your limitations, your perceptions of your limitations, which are always going to be incomplete, because we are remembering and we're needing to know ourselves as the all. And right now we know ourselves as the personality, and that's a limitation. The personality is a false construct. It's not real. And it's based on a lot of lies that we actually don't realize. Okay, so in our culture, we are pushed to have personalities, right? Cultivate your personality, dress like your personality, talk like your personality. Your cultural background. We are infused with these ideas of identity, and identity is separation. Okay, so the more we unpeel the layers of these identities, these names, these definitions, you become the all. You are all and nothing simultaneously. Okay, so I'm not saying this for you to become a fanatic of, you see, that's why it's so sometimes difficult to teach these things, because people will take certain parts and they will run with that part. But it's an ecosystem of consciousness. None of these one parts are just on their own enough to do anything. You need to understand the whole system. The cultivation of reconnection with the self, deep self-acceptance, deep value of yourself allows you to understand that you are all and nothing. Deep self-love is what reaches this understanding of embodiment of all and nothing. We are confused thinking self-love is loving an identity, loving a personality. Love is to love all parts of yourself, your pains, your sorrows, your wounds, to be aware of them, to integrate them, to work with them, and to, from there, when you love and accept what you are as a whole, that's when energy starts to move. Love is the alchemist. Okay, so that's the thing, the missing link that lots of people might not remember, that love is the alchemist. Love is the gathering energy of the becoming of the all and nothing. So we need to learn how to love. Love is not an emotion. Love is an entire ecosystem of existence. Essentially, when we're in a state of love, you are in a state of beingness, you're in a state of awareness, you're in a state of observation. Okay? And that allows you to accept yourself as a whole, to embrace yourself. See, embracing of your whole self, it's like the expansion of your frequency sensory system. That's the thing. The more that you limit the expansion of your acceptance of anything, you're limiting your perception. Okay? So this is where we begin to kind of understand the true core embodiment of being this new human, as we talk about, right? This new state of being is that you actually become and cultivate this state of awareness. So, so what we want to do essentially is cultivate this level of awareness in all states, even in dream state, remember, because we are in natural order 24/7. 24/7, we are moving life force to the body. The body and the state of connection and consciousness, that doesn't sleep. In reality, you are a living organism of co-creation 24/7. So, every moment of your day, bring love into every cell of your body. And remember that when we come into this ebb and flow of life force, of receiving energy, absorbing life force into the body, and releasing what doesn't need to be in the body. Like the ocean, like the waves, the ebb and flow of life force, you need to train yourself to be in alignment with that, in harmony with that. And you can do it right now. You can just sit and be in a constant state of receiving, releasing, and receiving. Releasing and absorbing. Release, absorb. Release, absorb. Okay, so right now, if you feel your body, your energy body releasing and absorbing, you're going to start to come into this harmonic order. If you're grounded, if you're fully in your body, you can't release and absorb if you're not fully in your body. You can't disassociate in that state because your awareness has to be focused. Remember that intention is creation. Where your attention is, that's where energy is going. So if your attention is dispersed all over the place, and don't give the excuse of ADHD. I grew up with ADHD. I was ADHD invitation to be medicated. And even though I had that, I still have that. There are many ways to learn how to direct your energy. You see, a lot of the things like ADHD, for example, you're multidimensional, and we need to learn how to cultivate that multidimensionality. We need to learn how to intentionally direct life force where it needs to be. So that requires you to gather. So what I noticed yesterday in my meditation, for example, when I went into a certain memory, just like we're talking today, and I reintegrated and alchemized that emotion, you're gonna feel your entire body coming back into one piece. It's really interesting. It's so amazing. And what it allowed me to understand, I see this with my clients every single day, when I first connect with them, it's like their energy's dispersed. The colors of their energy all over the place. Chakras are out of the body. So I'll have to talk an entire lecture about this, why chakras move out of the center energy line of the body. Very interesting. The chakras will move out from the body, the front and the back. These are moving systems. There's nothing stagnant in your body. So the contraction of a blocked back chakra, for example, over time, the energy is blocked, barely moving there, very stagnant. When we have severe traumas or when we disassociate from the body over time, these chakras begin to move out of the center line. Okay. When we connect with source, we have a center connection. We have a pillar of light in the body. You know, you're all light. So you are aware of the light body that you have. That is your direct connection to your source. And the direct connection to the source is organized by your chakra energy systems, which are vortices. These are toroidal energy bodies in your body. These toroidal energy bodies are contracting and expanding depending on how you're moving life force. They're spinning or stagnant depending on how you're moving your life force. How you move your life force is how you manage your emotional energy system. That's your bioelectrical energy system. The more conductive you become means that all your energy vortices are spinning, moving, fluid energy, and they are in harmony, which they are either moving to the right or the left, depending on what is necessary in your body. Everyone's different, the way that we move energy through the body. Okay. The optimum state, all chakras are moving energy in a spiral-like motion to move life force fluidly. Okay. And so in this universe, everything is spiral, everything is toroidal, because that's the most intelligent pathway of distributing life force in a balanced way. So your body is that energy system. Okay. So what happens when we have strong traumas, for example, is that as soon as you have an experience and you don't know what to do, again, that split happens. That split is an entire energy system of your body. And for some people, when they have like severe trauma over time, you start to disassociate. I especially see this with the solar plexus in a lot of people. Why? Because the solar plexus is the area of empowerment. It's your emotional energy engine. And so when this energy system starts to move out of the center line, you're disconnected from your higher self. You're disconnected from your source connection. You're disconnected from your divine self and the feminine as well. Okay. So the way that your chakras are managing energy in the body, let's imagine the center point of energy at the center of your body. These chakras move away from that center point. Remember, the back of the body is the feminine, the front is the masculine. So that's telling you something. The majority of the disconnects is in the masculine for the bodies. I always see it in the front of the body. The back of the body always contracts because why? When you disconnect from your actions, from your intentional actions, and you're not guided by your intuition, there's this split. So the body energetically becomes distorted, how it moves. And so what you'll notice is that when you have this alchemical moment in DNA reprogramming, this meditation that I'm teaching you, when you have that alchemical transmutation of that, let's say the emotion is anger in the solar plexus, unresolved, profound resentment and anger to yourself. Remember that it always comes back to you. Wherever you find strong emotions that you just cannot find the answer to, or you think you don't know why you're angry, or maybe you're completely disconnected. You're like, I'm not angry at all. Let's say then you discover, oh yes, I am angry. You're going to notice it comes back to you. The anger is towards the self. Okay. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We'll have to talk about the deep psychology of that. But essentially, when we have unresolved, unmet needs, we have innate intelligence, understanding that we are the source. We are the God-like beings, the creators of our life. We are the creators of our experience. And when we forget that, we become resentful. When we separate from the God self, when we separate from the higher self, we begin to feel a lot of anger towards ourselves. And so you might think you're angry towards the world, but actually it's always when you go deeper underneath there. Yes, we're angry at mom for abusing us. Yes, we're angry at dad for yelling. Yes, we are. But we are more angry that in that moment, we didn't know who to provide us with protection and love. We are more angry that we didn't recognize that we were source and we were in that. And that's part of the human experience. There is no victimization in this. It's necessary for us as we have chosen to experience separation in this physical body, that we experience separation. And we experience many different ways separation. It can be abuse, it can be loneliness, it can be abandonment, it can be fear, it can be disconnect, whatever it is. There is no worse or better experience. All of them are helping us understand that we are the all. And so the regathering and the remembrance of yourself as the all is slow through these memories and these experiences. But when you recover that memory that you are the source and you are the fountain of your self-love, you are the fountain of your protection, you are the fountain of your intuitive guidance, you are protected, and that every experience is designed for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to remember, for you to expand, for you to integrate the fractals of yourself in many lifetimes in your ancestral lineage. And until you do, the body starts to gather itself. Okay, so what I notice in my sessions is that they go from, let's say, 10 bodies, all 10 energy bodies are all distorted and out of alignment. It comes back into one. So the concept of being one with the universe, it's not just a concept and a saying that sounds so romantic and, spiritual. It is actual reintegration of your parts into one being at a psychological, bioelectrical, geometric, energetic level. You become one. So this is why there are no shortcuts. There is no enlightenment per se that is an end goal. You are a constant moving energy system of life force that you are returning back to yourself each time. And you are experiencing separation and oneness until you embody oneness fully, and you sustain that oneness. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing. And the invitation this week is that you are able to integrate these parts of yourself and become one more and more. And in these next couple of weeks, you're going to have a lot of these strong nostalgic memories. And it's a wonderful opportunity. And what I see is that the invitation is, as year 9, absolutely work with those trigger memories this year, if you can, as much as possible. Okay, your little trigger memories of all the things that have caused you strong emotions, strong pain, strong suffering, strong traumas. Work with those, because the invitation is, and the reason why the universe provides these waves of these collective systems of energy, astrologically, they will talk about this. Because the planets are in this certain way, you're going to have more memories coming back. And you can look at it from that perception, but also there's a higher intelligence even beyond the planets themselves. It's that this universe is going through a maturing level. We're maturing. The universe is maturing. We are fractals of that universe. And we have to clean out old energies, because when you enter into the first year of the period 9, next year, it's the beginning. It's the seeding of this, the beginning of growing into this new human, this new era that we're experiencing as a collective. Okay, so for then, we want to embody what we learned, right? These last, especially 10 years, have been so instrumental in helping you cultivate a new level of awareness. And it's not just happening to you, it's happening to all of humanity in their own ways, at their own levels. Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong, and there's no rush for anything. Everything is always in harmonic order. Remember that. Okay, so let's get into the meditation, guys. Allow yourself to ground in your body. Breathing deeply. Allow yourself to drop fully into your body. Inhale deeply and exhale, release. Release all the tension in the body. Go ahead and create an energetic connection from your body down to the center of the earth, your grounding cord. Visualize the center of the planet and connect yourself there. Anchor yourself. Go ahead and visualize a sphere around your body. Making sure that it's completely sealed all around you. Take your attention to the root chakra at the base of the spine. You're going to shrink the root chakra down to the size of a dime. Go up to your sacral chakra, shrink your chakra down to the size of a dime. Remember that you can use your imagination in order to visualize that the chakras are either shrinking down like the aperture of a camera, okay, or you can imagine that you're closing the door or that you're, putting it in a little box. The point of this is that we are learning how to work with our energy body so that we can redirect where the majority of our energy is already going. So shrinking the root chakra, the sacral, and the solar. They haven't stopped spinning. They haven't stopped moving. They're just shrinking that energy down so that we can clean it up. When you shrink it down, those three energy bodies, we are able to see more clearly where all the blocks are in your energy body. If they're wide open, you're going to have a very hard time seeing your energy body, number one, because the energies that are more active in your body are creating filters of perception, remember. So what we're doing is we are cleaning up our perception by shrinking down the three first chakras of the body. It quiets the noise. You'll notice that the monkey mind quiets down, your attention becomes more focused, also your brain goes into alpha state. Okay. And you are also beginning to lessen the out of control emotions that you are feeling in the body. When you are addicted to emotions, they again create strong filters of perception. So the first, second, third chakras of the body are shrunken down to the size of a marble. You're going to go up to your heart. Go ahead and expand your heart, front and back. Expand your throat. Expand your third eye. Go up into the crown, expanding your crown. I want you to notice your highest vibrational frequency, the color of your higher self. Some of you have been working with me, so you know what that is. If you have not worked with me, you can use gold light. You're going to put that up into your crown. And remember, your crown is your higher self. We want to align with intention, the higher self, with all areas of our life. We're going to start with career, family, relationships, children, abundance, health, vitality, sexual energy, creative energy, truth, harmony, and finally, your purpose. Expand your crown chakra. From the center of the earth, I want you to pull up a powerful healing color, the most healing color for you. See that color, and you're going to pull it up through your feet as if you have straws in your legs and you're absorbing from the earth this healing energy into your body, creating a vortex of energy at the center core of your body. From source, from the cosmos, go ahead and bring your life force into the body. And you're going to combine that gold energy, gold cosmic energy, with this healing energy in your body. Go ahead and allow yourself to take 10% of that energy back down to the center of the earth. Let yourself eliminate all the debris that are in your bodies. Focus. Go ahead and take 80% of this green and gold energy up your spine and from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your body, of your bubble, of the sphere around your body, clearing your relationship with the matrix. You're going to take that final 10% and absorb it into the body. Visualize that healing energy and gold cosmic energy absorbing into the pores of your body, the muscles, into the bones, the fascia, into the cells of the body. I want you to visualize absorbing into every cell, breathing. We're going to go down to the toes. Imagine that all the cells in the toes are absorbing this healing and cosmic energy. Go into the foot, into the heel, into the ankle. Imagine those cells. Imagine entering into the crystalline structure of your bones and the fascia. Go up into your shins and your calves. Go up into the knees. Go up into the thighs. Infuse into the sexual organs. Into the large intestine, small intestine. Every cell in the organ. Infuse into your kidneys. Your pancreas, your spleen. Every organ smiles as it receives and absorbs this energy. Going up into the liver. Into the stomach. Into the lungs. Into the heart. Infuse into the chest, into all the stomach muscles that are contracting, holding emotional memory, release. The abdomen muscles, your back, your lower back muscles, your mid and your upper back muscles, release. Go up into the throat. Infuse your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system from the vagus nerve all the way down. Infuse it. Infuse the respiratory system. Infuse the cardiovascular system. You'll notice that when you're in this state, it's easier to feel love. It's easier to feel joy. Just as a side note, go into your brain. You're going to infuse the brain with this healing energy and cosmic energy. And once again, the skeletal system from the crown of the head down to your toes. Right now, you have opened the pathways of life force in the body. We're going to go deeper. We're going to work with the energy body now. So allow yourself to connect and notice how far out your energy body is extending around you. Notice the variations. See if you can distribute your energy evenly around you, 360 degrees, above, below, side to side, front to back. Now we're going to go into the psychological, bioelectrical, emotional energy system of the body. So I want you to begin to observe the emotions that you experienced over the past 24 hours. I want you to notice what is the strongest trigger of the past 24 hours. Anything that took you even slightly out of your balance. You can also access a memory that has triggered you in the past 24 hours. Go ahead and focus and narrow in on the strongest emotion. Locate the emotion in the body. What part of your body is contracting as you feel this emotion the strongest? Observe how your body is reacting. And name out the emotions that come up as you observe this emotion in your body. Allow yourself to expand into the emotions that you're feeling and notice the strongest of these. Remember that your first three chakras are closed, so the way that you experience these emotions are going to be at a lesser rate. They'll be less powerful in the body. And it's for the reason of cultivating a very deep understanding of your emotions. not just from the feeling body, but the energy and also the psychological energy system. So allow yourself to feel the emotion, but then focus on observing the emotions that come up. It's as if you are reading your emotions. Allow yourself to observe the emotions, name them out. And once again, notice which one of these is the strongest. Right now, you are reading your DNA, you are reading the holographic layers of emotions in the morphogenetic field. It's not just that you're naming out random emotions. Let yourself access the strongest of this list of emotions and be absolutely still as you observe this emotion in the body. I want you to take yourself back to the very first time that you experienced this emotion. You can go as far back as the womb to access this memory. This is how you're going to work with your memories. As you begin to observe the memory, it can be very vague or it can be very vivid, or you might just feel a sense of the emotion that you felt. That's enough as well. You're going to focus on the emotion that you felt in that moment, in this older, prior moment. And just observe yourself and notice, why are you feeling that way? What is triggering that emotion within you? Try not to get lost in the story of the experience, but rather narrowing down to observing just the triggers that are causing this emotion within you. The art of naming out things simply and accurately becomes more refined as you learn to work with your emotions. And also as you begin to work with the addiction that we have to emotions. When we're addicted to emotions, we get stuck in the stories. And so we relive the emotions very strongly, very powerfully over and over. And they don't let us see what's actually happening. So as your first three chakras are closed, it would allow you to see more clearly the root of this emotion, the core cause. Allow yourself to observe what is happening around you, what is triggering that emotion, and just notice, what is it that you need from your environment or from the people that are triggering this in order to not feel that way. Take a moment and notice that. And just observe if those surroundings, if those people that are triggering that are capable of providing you with what you need. Not from a place of judgment, but simply observing what is the highest truth of that person. Are they capable of providing you with what you need? You can also begin to observe why they are or where they're not. Sometimes it helps to put yourself in their shoes so you begin to understand their perception of their limitations. Once you have understood that, focus on yourself. Bring yourself fully back into your body. Allowing yourself to notice what you need in order to no longer feel this way. If you could have anything that you needed in that moment, what would it be to alchemize this emotion? Make a list. And observe, who do you feel these emotions towards? Allow yourself to look at the list that you've created of emotions that you need. And we're going to start at the top. I want you to fill your body with exactly what you need. I want you to notice if you are familiar with this emotion that you're filling your body up with. Let's say what you needed was communication. Are you familiar, and do you know, and do you communicate with yourself? Do you have an open, clear communication and dialogue with yourself constantly, or is that missing? Chances are that we are repeating the exact same behavior that we learned in this experience towards ourselves over and over again. And keep moving down that list until you find the emotion that you don't know how to give yourself. Allow yourself to observe what you need in order to provide this emotion for yourself, to fill this need. Let's say that it is a deep reconnection to yourself. What would you need in order to allow yourself to be deeply reconnected to yourself? You might notice that it's acceptance, self-approval, to value yourself. Whatever it is for you, I want you to fill your body with those emotions and get very familiar with how they feel. For example, the feeling of self-value. How does that feel in your body? How familiar are you with that feeling in your body? With that emotion? With the act of self-value? You'll begin to notice that your energy body shifts as you feel these different emotions in your body. I want you to begin to observe the impacts of not having embodied this awareness throughout your life. How has these belief systems that were created in this experience, how have they affected you, your ability to create, your ability to love yourself and others? your ability to heal throughout your life. Take a look at that. As if you're scanning through the years, months of your life, beginning to observe the impact. As you see all these fractals of yourself, I want you to see them and infuse them with exactly what you need. You're going to begin to notice that they transform, they change, their energy changes, their perception changes. You're going to see all these fractals merging into one self in front of you. I want you to see your ancestral lineage, your whoever it is that triggered that emotion in you the most in front of you. You're going to see their ancestral lineage. I want you to observe how have they been repeating this same pattern over and over again in their lifetimes. Notice the impact of these core belief systems in your ancestral lineage. Allow yourself to call back your life force from all these ancestors into your body. You're going to cut cords on their end, and you're going to pull those cords out of your body, connecting those cords to source. You're going to release everything that you took on that doesn't belong to you, all those beliefs, all those fears, those anxieties that you're repeating, that you've learned from these ancestors, and that you are now choosing to change in your being. Begin to observe as you let them go. You're going to see a contract in front of you that represents self-abandonment. Whatever it is that you have been repeating, this contract represents this continuous addiction, attachment, identification program that is causing you to repeat this suffering over and over again. Go ahead and visualize that you're going to dissolve that contract completely. Very good. You're going to see all your fractals moving into one self. Observe your new self, this integrated self. How is it different? How is the qualities, the emotional qualities, the perceptions? How does it hold space, this new aspect of yourself? How does this integrated part of you act in the world, behave in the world? Go ahead and integrate that into your body. This is who you are. You're going to focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and open the root chakra back into a balanced state. Visualize that you're cleaning out the root body chakra. I also want you to see a room that is filled with all the karmic contracts that you've made coming into this lifetime, all of the lessons that you wanting to learn in this human experience. Go ahead and shine your crown light, your higher self. You're going to shine that light on top, eliminating all those contracts in that room until it's completely empty. And once it's completely empty, you're going to fill that room with your creative color, the crown of your higher self, the color of your higher self. You're going to go into another room. This room is filled with all of our people that don't have our best interest. Go ahead and visualize gently removing these shadows. You're going to see a pile of sticks. You're going to break those sticks in half, cleaning that out. Go ahead and focus on the sacral chakra. You're going to open that sacral chakra back into a balanced state, clearing the sacral energy body, balancing the sacral energy body. You're going to go up into your solar plexus. Go ahead and open the solar plexus back into a balanced state, balancing your solar plexus body. You're going to go into the heart. You're going to gently close the heart just a little bit so that we are in a balanced state. You're going to go to the throat, close it back into a balanced state. Into the third eye, back into a balanced state. And into your crown. As you illuminate with your higher self, go ahead and activate the 8th chakra, the relationship with source, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and above you is a powerful white light of source. Go ahead and pull that source down into your body, down through the heart, down through the perineum, into the center of the earth. And as you connect down to the center of the earth, you're going to activate the chakra underneath your feet into the earth. The 2nd chakra underneath the body. The 3rd chakra underneath the body. You're going to feel yourself fully coming into the body, grounding. I want you to see a pillar of light in the center of your crown of your head, down to the perineum, into the earth. And you're going to create another pillar of light through your solar plexus out through the back. And it's going to hold you in space in this perimeter of this earth. As you created an axis of light through the center of your body. You're going to open the chakra between the heart and the solar plexus. This is the chakra of unconditional self-love. Go ahead and open that up. Breathing. Okay. Go ahead and open your eyes. And with your eyes open, you're going to continue to see your grounding core. You're going to continue to see the bubble around your body. You're going to continue to see all your chakras up to the 24th with your eyes open. Allow yourself to take in your environment. Breathing deeply. Cultivate your observer. Don't judge anything. Just be completely present with yourself in absolute authenticity. Allow yourself to be completely in a state of absolute truth. Okay, you're going to notice that the energy body feels really beautifully moving, and just observe that. And you guys did amazing. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was an honor to share this space with you, as always. I want to thank you for your incredible questions. And let me just see if there's any questions that I can answer before I go. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your love. Let me see here, guys. John, great to see you. Cedric, so great to see you. Louisa, love you. Jaden from Hawaii, great to see you. Sarah, lovely to see you. Sakshi, thank you so much for being here. From India, thank you for being here. Laura from Chicago, Pennsylvania, Hollywood, John. Augie, great to see you. Okay, so Sakshi Jane says, can we close the lower three chakras when someone is in our room and do the meditation? So yeah, couple things. When you're really taking this work very seriously and learning and training to do this, I would advise for the beginning to do it by yourself. Okay. And the reason why is because you're just learning how to work with your energy body and to create healthy boundaries. Sometimes and I'm not saying this is you, I'm saying just in general, we don't know how to have healthy energetic boundaries. And we don't realize the energetic cords that we have that we've never cleaned up between ourselves and the other people. So, until you learn to develop your vision to be able to see your energy body quite clearly and where you can trust what you're seeing, which takes daily practice. Okay, so for those of you that are new to that work, I would advise to do it by yourself because it'll be a lot easier for you. You need to get to know your energy body. You need to get to know where you begin and where you end. You need to get to know how to cultivate your energetic space. You need to learn how to work with your chakra system. So I would advise that if you're just doing this work, that you do it when you're alone. And it's very important that when you do this work, that you fill your space, your healing space, with golden light. Okay? Golden frequency is the highest neutral frequency in this universe for humans. So we can fill the room that you're in with golden light. Now, when you do that, you also want to ground your room that you're in. It's energy, everything is energy, remember. And you are the master co-creator. So don't think that just you're going to show up somewhere and it's going to be very easy to meditate. No, because when you're disconnected from yourself, you don't realize how we're so deeply enmeshed with our environment. And so, just like when we create free radicals in the body, when you have so much stress and anxiety and tension, so does your environment. Okay? Because your environment is a reflection of you. Your house is a reflection of your internal body, of your mind. The world is a fractal. It's a reflection of your internal self as well. So we have to learn, when we're disconnected from our bodies for a long time, we have to learn how to come back into harmony with things. And so that happens in layers for humans because we're so disconnected. So we have to learn how to bring our energy and in our house into the moment, into the present moment with us. So we ground the house, you put a bubble around your healing space, your room. This is affecting people. Okay, so in your own home, you can ground your home, but remember there is the law of free will. And sometimes when you try to ground a home, it can kind of take someone out of balance that's not grounded at all. It might exacerbate their ungrounded state because they start to feel a shift in the energy in the environment. And so sometimes that's an imposition of free will. So, that's why I always invite you to work have your own private healing space as best as you can, if you can do that. Even if it's, just a small room that you can get yourself into for an hour. That's the invitation. This is when you're just starting, okay? Technically, we should be able to do this anywhere. But the fact of the matter is that we lack discipline and we lack connection to our body. So we have to cultivate that reconnection. And it's difficult sometimes when we have so much going on. So that's the invitation. Um, can I record meditation in my own voice and do it? I read somewhere that we need to activate higher frequency of love and voice of the womb if we want to reprogram subconscious mind with our own voice. How do I proceed? Yeah, Sashi, of course, if you want to record your own meditations and guide yourself, you can do that by all means. Definitely try it out. But also, I mean, it's also really important to know that you have to learn how to guide yourself internally. And I would really advise that you focus on guiding yourself internally rather than having something external guiding you, because there's a separation there, and you need to integrate yourself as the healer with your body. Okay, so that's a different kind of state of holding energy, also. Okay. I don't feel like working a 9 to 5 job after spiritual awakening, but I have the bills to pay. Can I manifest 4 hours a job with my desired package? Yeah, so I mean, you can, but the thing is this, and this is something that is really interesting that I experienced in my own life. When I when I deprogrammed, this is many years after I was already doing this deprogramming work with myself, and I was cultivating the 0 point more, it came to a point where I realized that I wanted to be of service to humanity. And I surrendered my life to that. I said, use me, universe, to be of service as a channel, and I will do whatever is required for that. And it was when I did that that my life changed completely. I changed careers. I sold my business without a second thought because I knew it wasn't in alignment with me. I ended a partnership. I quit the jobs, many jobs that I was doing. I was doing many kinds of projects, and I completely dedicated myself to this. And from there, I was not thinking about money. I was not thinking about survival. I was focusing on being in harmonic order with myself, and that brought me into alignment with everything else. And from there, resources came that I needed. Everything fell into alignment. So this is not, it's not a fantasy story, but this is also not a quick fix overnight thing. This requires a lot of clear understanding of yourself, needing to know how to meet your needs with deep love, with honesty. It's not just a fantasy. The idea is not to work less because we don't like to work. The idea is to do exactly what you need to do because you love yourself, and you do what has to be done. So it's not about avoiding work. And that's something that's very important. It's about doing what is right for you. So you need to know what is right for you. My story might not be the same for you. It might be different. You need to get to know yourself so you understand how your higher self wants to embody and be and exist in here. So don't limit yourself with 4 hours a day or these ideas that you have. Clean everything. Get to know yourself first. Get to know your needs and understand how to meet those needs proactively. It might be that you need to be in a 9 to 5 job, and you need to do that in order to have a house, in order to have food, in order to nourish your body, in order to be able to have time to meditate and heal yourself without stress. Always choose the path that is causing you less suffering and less stress. Because if you choose an illusion and your life is going to be filled with stress and survival, you're going against everything. So don't get stuck on an illusion. Focus on, by loving yourself, getting to know yourself, knowing your needs really deeply, what you need, honestly, truly. And that's how, the more you come into the alignment with higher truth, higher your own truth, this is how you will know which direction to take. Okay, so if others' pain body take over, the best way to not cause ourselves suffering is to be an observer of my emotion. If others' pain body takes over, Can you explain that to me? Because unless you're completely enmeshed with somebody else's energy, emotional body, you should not be taking other people's emotions, right? You can as an empath and a psychic and intuitive, you can feel what's happening, but you must know that what is yours and what's not yours. And that's why we have a bubble that we choose constantly what we allow to affect us. Feeling that emotion, if you apply meaning to that and subconsciously you're like bad emotion, you're becoming entangled immediately. Remember that the judgment is the entanglement. So when you apply meaning to something, you're becoming entangled. So the neutrality is to be aware, continue that awareness, but know where your energy and attention needs to be and discern that continuously. You'll notice that you can be of more service to those around you if you want to from this perception rather than feeling everything, getting lost in the feelings of things and not knowing what's yours, what's theirs. You can't do anything with that. You can't help anyone, yourself or anyone else. So when it comes to training the intuition, there comes a point where after you learn how to feel and sense and connect with everything, you have to learn how to choose what you're going to be focusing on. There's a misconception that as an intuitive, as an empath, you have to be constantly intuiting everything for everywhere, all the time. No, that's the biggest way for healers to become sick because they don't know how to create energetic boundaries. As an intuitive, you're going to know everything. When I enter a room, I can know everyone's everything. But if I do that, I'm not in the present moment. I'm not in my body. I'm just a depletion of energy everywhere. This is how a lot of psychic people end up really lost, really disconnected and confused. So there's a law of free will. You never tap into anyone's energy unless they ask you, unless they're asking you for help. It's none of your business what is happening. Okay. And I say that in jest, but in reality, when you're a healer, you have to understand how to hold your space. And you understand and respect, information. You're not just becoming in this empty energy system of just, you know when is the time to say things, when is the time to give, when is the time to take. You understand energy exchange. Everything has to be in balance, okay, in harmonic order. Is using the senses during Qigong a primary way to be more intuitive and insightful from the parasympathetic mode? Is using the senses during Qigong not necessarily, not exclusively, right? The parasympathetic body is just responding to the signals that you're picking up. Okay. Qigong is about moving in harmony with energy systems, with greater energy systems. So remember that your energy body, you are an extension of the world. And this environment around us, these energy systems, this plant has its own toroidal field, this crystal has its own toroidal field, and so we are moving in an ocean of life force. Qigong is to learn how to direct life force through the body in a harmonic manner. Be in harmony with your environment. When you're talking about intuition, that's the tool, the mere tool that you're using in order to discern how to move life force. Okay, so there's different order for things. Qigong can help you develop your intuition more, vice versa. You can develop your intuition and use that intuition to use Qigong and to see energy and to know how to move it more intuitively. So these are all interconnected systems, but they're not exclusively going to help one or the other. Okay. Now, Qigong can help calm the parasympathetic nervous system because you are learning how to move life force in the body. So let's say you're very stressed out. You're not coming into the body. So Qigong can help you move energy and get more connected to your body so that you know how to come into balance energetically, okay, in the body. And you are redirecting that stress, removing that stress and replacing it with peace or with observation, with this more kinder emotions in your body. Okay. Isn't EMDR a prescription for trauma? Yes, EMDR is good for trauma. Absolutely. It's been shown to be fantastic for trauma. The psychological script for EMDR is what we use a lot in this trauma work that we're doing here in DNA reprogramming. So the meditation I'm guiding you going through the steps of accessing your emotions is similar to this process of EMDR. Victoria Alexis, is DNA reprogramming similar to soul retrieval? Do they mirror each other as a healing modalities? These are not separate healing modalities. We are doing soul retrieval in DNA reprogramming. Soul retrieval, well, let me be clear. The actual term soul retrieval, I don't know if that's a very specific school of thought or it's like somebody trademarked that for a school of a specific modality. So excuse my ignorance if it's a very specific name, but as a general term, a process of retrieving your soul, this is something that you do in internal shadow work in general. Okay. So to be clear, when we do deep shadow work, to close the loop of that shadow work, it's to integrate the fractal of yourself. And it's not really a retrieval of a soul. Your soul exists. Your soul isn't going anywhere. Your soul never leaves your body. You are one with everything. Your physical body is connected to your body. Unless you die, you're here. Okay. However, the soul, in terms of its energy system, becomes fractalized. That's what we're talking about. And so when we talk about retrieving and reintegrating fractals of yourself, you're just regathering your energy as a soul. You're seeing yourself as a soul, essentially as the all again. Okay. And yes, this is a very key element to DNA reprogramming. It's absolutely imperative that we access soul fragments, okay, because it's energy that we're gathering. Sakshi says, so if I was in a toxic relationship, technically a part of me had underlying belief system that got me into alignment with this relationship. That's right. That's right. So every relationship, whether it's a loving romantic relationship or one with your brother, one with your colleague at work, one with your neighbor next door, it's all by resonance. Subconsciously, we are gathered in a very intelligent system that gathers energies, in groups. We are mirroring each other. Okay. So even the person that you see walking down the street, we have some kind of resonant energy in there. And this triggers a lot of people because, we want to think, oh, we're not like that, let's say, drug addict on the street. We're not like that person. We're not like that. I'm not like that at all. But in reality, if you take time to really understand that person, you're going to notice that the core root trigger belief system that they're processing in the back end can be very similar to yours if you're constantly connecting with that, if you're constantly in the vicinity of that person. Okay, and this is it's very interesting. But even your neighbors in your building, even the neighbors on your block are a kind of resonant frequencies, the core belief system. That's why when people try to say, "Oh my gosh, we're so different. We're not alike at all," that's never true. If you are with them, if you're talking to them, if you're connecting with this individual, we have something that has brought us together. That is the beauty of the intelligence, this intelligent energy system of this planet Earth. And until we understand that, that's where we start to learn unity consciousness. Okay. Okay, guys, let me see. What is the difference between law of attraction and law of karma? I feel both are same. No, not at all. Not at all. These are These are separate things completely. The law of attraction is exactly what I'm mentioning, the core resonant belief systems which create a frequency. And that frequency is emanating around you, attracting you to the things around you. The law of karma is simply cause and effect. So the action of doing that is creating things. So I would say the attraction energy is before the karmic creation, okay? Because your core belief systems are going to infuse your intentions behind your actions. And those actions are going to be expressed in this karma, okay? Karma is simply cause and effect. So if your cause is coming from a certain intention, that law of attraction is attracting the proper individuals to experience what you are intending. The problem is we don't know our intentions. We're not honest about our intentions. That's really what it is. We lie to ourselves about our intentions. We want companionship, but we're not honest about that. So we go all about these roundabout ways, and then we end up with people that trigger us terribly or make us feel more lonely or make us or trigger the feeling of lack that need of companionship has been causing you in the back end. Okay, so this is how it is. Do healing from childhood traumas come from 0 point or pure consciousness during deep meditation? Do healing from childhood traumas come from 0 point or pure consciousness deep meditation? I mean, I guess I would have to ask, like, what is pure consciousness to you? I mean, pure consciousness, I'm not sure what the definition of that is. So from the 0 point emerges, you can say you become aware of consciousness. Consciousness is the all. Consciousness is the field of awareness of everything. Okay. So that's that. Healing childhood traumas comes from the cultivation of the awareness. Because in order to heal, you have to become very aware. You have to become aware of, is your belief system that was caused by that trauma really true? Or is it an incomplete truth? Is it a filter of perception that you have devised and created and cultivated over time as a result of that trauma? So the cultivation of the 0 point is to remove all those filters of perceptions. That is what's healing. It's the removal of filters of perceptions that are caused by traumas. And therefore, you cultivate the 0 point. And that is what's healing. Because any kind of incomplete truth or any holding of one frequency, which is not the whole spectrum, you are the whole spectrum. You become healthy when you allow yourself to become the full spectrum of light. But if you're only looking at things through the red, the fear one or the survival one, you're not going to be healthy. Okay, so you can't, and if you're also in the violet light, let's say you're always in the violet lights, but you can't go into the other spectrums of light, you're also not going to be healthy. See, so it's the 0 point is all and nothing simultaneously. And from there, you now become conscious, and you are the field of consciousness. You are the field of creation. I hope that answers that question. Please put your questions in capital letters, guys, so I can catch them and read them really easily. Louisa Toland says, gosh, that's so interesting. I'm in a new neighborhood and my energy is very different and causing chaos. My inner work could be almost bullying because it's strong here. And I use it in a way to create peace because, well, they are sending some warfare and I respond. Goodness, it's tricky. Okay, so this is interesting. So, Louisa, because a lot of people are experiencing these kinds of beliefs of conflict, okay? First of all, we came into that neighborhood for a reason. And so the core subconscious belief that brought us into that neighborhood is what we have to work on in order to alchemize whatever we believe is being sent in our direction. You see, as I mentioned before, you're either the red, let's say the energy is red, your core subconscious belief system is survival. So you're constantly in this state of energy, of red energy. This is just simplifying, extreme simplification. So don't take it as a literal, extreme literal. Let's say you are in survival, so your energy frequency is red. Okay? This is subconscious. You don't even know that you're in survival. You think we are aligned with love, with peace, with everything. But in reality, there's certain fear. And that fear, maybe that fear is what made us move in the first place. Maybe that fear is what made you go into this certain neighborhood. And it turns out that your fear is exactly the same energy that all of these other neighbors are feeling, actually, because they're in survival. And that's actually happening a lot in our world today. What is coming to the surface is everybody's core primordial fear. Why? Because we're in year number 9 of endings. Because if you're going into next year with fear of anything, this will be continued. It will be magnified because every time we go into stronger octaves. So I'm not saying this is you, Louisa. I'm not saying you're fearful of anything. But I'm saying that we need to understand what is the core subconscious belief. We are never in bullying meditations or bullying situations that make us without random. We are experiencing that because something is needing to come to the surface to be addressed. And once you fix that and you realize, you're going to notice that you alchemize that fear, let's say the survival, this is just an example, survival fear into just being with yourself fully, accepting yourself, accepting others. Now there's a neutrality. And so the strongest protection is the 0 point in any circumstance, physical, non-physical. Why? Because as long as you're holding a frequency, your frequency, the more you define yourself as a certain frequency, in this case, protection, right? Resistance and protection. We want to create barriers and protection. That energy is very dense. It's very specific. So your range of moving of life force becomes very limited, and so do your experiences external to you. So do the people that you attract to you. So are the even in your dream state where you're navigating becomes limited. So what has to happen essentially is that we alchemize that into, again, we expand our range of frequency into the all. That's ascension, is to expansion. We are expanding our range of frequencies. And so in this case, we are becoming all and nothing. And when we have such dense energies, when something hits us, something can be thrown and something can hit us. So in martial arts, what do we do in martial arts, in Tai Chi? As soon as someone hits us, we learn how to redirect the energy. We become nothing here. And it just goes right through. So somebody can punch you, and even if they put all their force, they won't get you. They won't hurt you. And I mentioned this film called, I forget the name. I have to find it and I'll tell you, about Qigong, which was incredible. They had the world's most amazing martial art masters, gold medalists, working with the Qigong Tai Chi master. They were all humbled because they were thinking force. They were thinking strategy. They were thinking, protection, blocking. This guy was redirecting energy. So all of them flew across the room, even if they were heavyweight masters, champions, everything. This is the same psychologically. It is the same spiritually. If you are in resistance, if you are stuck in one frequency, you will be an easy target because you're very definable and your energy is very specific and it's lower, it's dense. So it can be hit. If I'm in a constant state of protection, like, of course they're going to hit me. I'm nice and solid. I'm there. But if I am nothing, if I'm not in defense, if I am just in the 0 point, if I have no applying any meaning to the anger of this person and I'm not afraid of it, it's going to go right through me. Okay. It's the same with psychological warfare. It's the same. You become the body of glass. Everything will move through you. Nothing will touch you. Nothing will affect you. You get to choose. You always choose what you're going to experience. That's why there's no victims. And I'm not saying this lightly. I have gone through extremely difficult experiences in my life. And I know for a fact that we are not victims of anything. And so you can understand this and understand remember how powerful you are. You can understand there is no weakness when you come into the 0 point. You are the all. So that is the key. Okay. And so what will happen is that these resistant points that we have with the neighbors will neutralize. And it's almost like, they won't give that energy out like that. Even if they do, it will not affect you. Okay. But yeah, we are coming into an interesting world where we're going to really need to understand these techniques because people are choosing their timelines right now in an interesting way. Okay. Deep love to you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm sorry, we're kind of running over time now. Final question, Heart Traveler, how do we protect ourselves from? What do we protect ourselves from? What we are in fear of? Yes? Sorry, my love, I cannot understand your question. What do we protect ourselves from? Oh, what are we in fear of? Oh, what do we protect? Okay, so he's asking, what should we protect ourselves from? Is it fear? Should we protect ourselves from fear? No. So basically, let me answer this in the best way with addressing your question. Unconditional love is the strongest protection, period. Okay, now, unconditional love is not what you think it is, because in our world, we think unconditional love is self-sacrifice. We think it's like neglecting your needs. We think it's just giving our energy away. We think it's just freely loving things, even if they're bad, or we have this misconception that we're going to become extremely vulnerable if we love unconditionally. It's the opposite. When you love unconditionally, first you love yourself. Okay, if you are not taking care of yourself, you're gonna, you're not gonna live very long. So self-love means, first of all, be honest about what your needs are. Be honest about why you're not giving yourself what you need. Because that's the first trap. We don't really believe that we can be the provider of our needs. That's the problem. And that's the separation of the divine feminine. It's the separation of the higher self and the physical, that belief. Okay, so you have to know yourself a lot, deeply. You have to know who you are. You need to know where you came from. You need to understand why you have your behaviors that you have, your survival mechanisms. What are your core values? If you don't know your core values, you will always be confused. The more your core values align with natural harmonic laws of the universe, you will always be protected. You will always be in alignment. And that is the embodiment of unconditional love. Unconditional love is the embodiment of universal laws. Okay, so as you can see, very different thing. You understand the law of resonance. You understand the law of creation. You understand the law of free will. To really understand those things brings tremendous power into yourself, because you are the creator of your reality and you take responsibility for your creation. That is protection. And basically, you're not going to go to those places because you listen to yourself. Your body knows everything. It says, don't go to that gathering today. And you listen. You don't ignore. So the constant self-betrayal of our internal guidance system is the most fragile state of existence. Don't think vulnerability. There's nothing dangerous with vulnerability. Fragility is a different thing. Easily breakable. You have no grounding, you have no connection to yourself, you have no understanding of who you are, you're fragile. And you're in danger. And because everything that you believe in comes from fear, you will be provided with experiences to reinforce fearful beliefs. So this is the thing. And that's why the mastery over the mind, the emotions, the self is absolutely key to living a harmonious life. Harmonious life doesn't just come from thin air. It's not just from thinking. It's cultivation of your internal self into harmonic order that results in deep harmony, deep peace, deep love. And that cannot be faked. It cannot be a mask ever, because your life speaks for itself. Your relationships, your creation, the quality of your creation speak for itself. Okay? Okay, guys, I love you so much. I would love to answer more questions, but I do have to go. And I would love to continue answering all your questions. I have them saved, and we will continue next week. I want to thank you so much for joining me, guys. It was an honor, as always, a pleasure. Peter Carr, thank you so much for that super chat. I am so grateful for your super chats. They help me keep this channel free and just open with this information. These groups and gatherings are free, of course. You can join by registering on my website to the Zoom, where I'm providing answers to all your questions, and you can, connect and everything. And just a couple of pointers. I'm having my energy healing and reading clinic this week on Wednesday. So definitely check that out. Space is limited, okay? Because it's pretty in-depth readings and stuff like that, but definitely sign up for that if you want. Also, I have an amazing group hypnotherapy that I am doing next Saturday. It's going to be a very special one. We're going to go through the entire complete energy system, and we're going to talk about the embodiment and the integration of the higher octave in the body. Okay, what does that look like? Just like everything we're talking here, but we're going to really talk about the embodiment of that. What does that look like structurally, internally? And so join me next Saturday for that. It's going to be a group hypnotherapy and a lecture. Okay, so that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that. And love you, and I will see you soon.